Humanity's unexpected stand. The Galactic Empire's Grand Council, a towering hall filled with representatives of the most powerful species in the galaxy, was abuzz with excitement. For centuries, they had ruled unchallenged, expanding their territories and subjugating countless civilizations. Earth, a planet in the far reaches of a less explored sector, had recently come into their sights. It was deemed ripe for conquest, a resource-rich world with seemingly primitive inhabitants who had yet to master interstellar travel. The council chamber was adorned with shimmering banners of the Empire, holograms of conquered worlds rotating lazily above them. Representatives lounged in their seats, exuding confidence as they discussed Earth's inevitable fall. At the head of the chamber stood High Chancellor Tsar, his reptilian features curling into a smug grin. "The humans will either submit or be crushed," he declared, his voice echoing across the vast chamber. Murmurs of agreement filled the room. Moments later, the chamber's massive holographic projector flickered to life. The council had decided to issue Earth a formal ultimatum. A transmission was sent to the planet, and within moments, the screen illuminated with the image of a human. Commander Ethan Cross, the head of Terran Defense. He was dressed in a simple uniform, his expression calm yet resolute. "Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Empire," Cross began. His voice was steady, but there was a distinct edge to his tone. "I am Commander Ethan Cross, speaking on behalf of the people of Earth. We have received your ultimatum, and our answer is simple. Earth is off limits." The room erupted into laughter. High Chancellor Tsar sneered, his fanged teeth glinting in the light. "Primitive fools," he hissed. "How dare they?" Cross interrupted, his voice rising above the din. "You believe us primitive because we have not yet mastered interstellar travel. But while you expanded outward, we expanded inward. Our scientists have unlocked technologies you cannot fathom, technologies that make us more than capable of defending ourselves." The laughter ceased as murmurs of uncertainty rippled through the chamber. Cross continued, his voice growing colder. "Our defense systems are unlike anything you've encountered. To demonstrate, I've uploaded the coordinates of one of your hidden outposts near the Rylos Nebula. Look closely." The holographic projector in the council chamber suddenly displayed the coordinates Cross mentioned. Gasps filled the room as the coordinates were confirmed to match the location of a secret Imperial outpost, one known only to the highest-ranking officials. Before anyone could react, a swirling vortex appeared in the center of the chamber, a microscopic wormhole, shimmering with a menacing glow. From the vortex emerged a swarm of nanobots, glittering like dust in the light. They hovered for a moment before spreading across the walls of the chamber, disassembling a section of the reinforced metal with terrifying precision. The nanobots then dissolved into a harmless mist, leaving behind a stark reminder of their destructive power. "Consider this a warning," Cross said, his image unwavering. "We have no interest in war, but we will defend our home. If you choose to test us, the consequences will be catastrophic. Earth does not start fights, but we will finish them." The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. High Chancellor Tsar's eyes narrowed, his confidence wavering for the first time. "It's a bluff," he muttered, but the doubt in his voice was evident. Other council members began whispering, fear creeping into their expressions. Could this backwater planet truly possess such advanced technology? Admiral Cal Dracon, a towering figure clad in ornate battle armor, slammed his gauntleted fist onto the table. "They dare threaten the Empire," he roared. "I will lead a fleet to Earth and show these insolent creatures the price of defiance." "Enough," Tsar barked, regaining his composure. "We must analyze their claims before taking action. If they are lying, they will face the full might of the Empire. But if they are telling the truth," his voice trailed off, the implications too dire to speak aloud. Far away on Earth, Ethan Cross ended the transmission and turned to his team. "How do you think they'll respond?" asked Dr. Elena Hayes, one of the chief scientists behind Earth's technological advancements. "They'll test us," Cross replied grimly. They won't believe us until we prove it again, this time with their warships. Prepare the defense grid. We've bought ourselves time, but the real battle is just beginning. As Earth's defense forces scrambled to prepare for the inevitable confrontation, a sense of unease settled over the planet. Humanity had just declared its defiance against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The world held its breath, knowing that the next move would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of humanity itself. The Empire strikes first. Admiral Kale Dracon's fleet assembled in orbit around the imperial capital of Draxion Prime. Hundreds of sleek warships shimmered under the twin suns, their hulls bristling with weapons capable of leveling entire cities. The Draxion Armada was infamous across the galaxy, its mere presence often enough to force civilizations into submission. Drakon stood at the helm of his flagship, the Indomitable, glaring at the holographic projection of Earth floating before him. "Primitive savages," Drakon muttered, his voice dripping with disdain. "They dare challenge the Empire. They'll learn the price of arrogance." As the fleet prepared to launch, Emperor Zarok's hologram materialized before Drakon. The Emperor, cloaked in regal armor adorned with glowing sigils, radiated power and malice. "Admiral Drakon," the Emperor's voice rumbled, "I trust you understand the gravity of this mission. Earth's defiance has made a mockery of our authority. You will crush them swiftly and without mercy. Their technology, if it exists, will be brought back to the Empire." Drakon bowed deeply. "By your will, my Emperor, the humans will kneel or burn." Moments later, the fleet engaged their warp drives, disappearing into streaks of light as they hurtled toward Earth. Earth's preparations. On Earth, the mood was tense but resolute. Commander Ethan Cross stood in the subterranean control center of the Terran defense grid, a vast network of advanced systems designed to protect the planet from extraterrestrial threats. Holographic screens displayed real-time data, monitoring every corner of the solar system. "Any sign of movement?" Cross asked, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility bearing down on him. Dr. Elena Hayes, standing nearby, pointed to a screen. "We've detected warp signatures at the edge of the Kuiper Belt." "It's them." Cross nodded grimly. "How long until they reach Earth?" "Less than 6 hours," replied Major Sam Carter, head of Earth's orbital defense forces. "Their fleet is massive, Commander. This will be the largest battle humanity has ever faced." "Size doesn't matter," Cross said, a determined glint in his eye. "We've faced impossible odds before. Let's make sure we're ready." Dr. Hayes stepped forward. "Ethan, there's something you need to see." She pulled up a projection of Earth's newly developed weapon systems, highlighting a cluster of sleek, black ships stationed just beyond the moon. Project Obsidian is operational. These ships are equipped with inertia-negating engines and quantum disruptors. They can intercept the enemy fleet before it reaches Earth. Cross studied the data and the prototype defense satellites. "Fully armed," Hayes confirmed. "They're loaded with gravitational singularity warheads. One shot could disable an entire fleet." "Good," Cross said. "Deploy everything. We can't let them set foot on Earth." The battle begins. The Draxion fleet emerged from warp at the edge of the solar system, their massive ships casting shadows over the distant planets. Admiral Drakon stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, gazing at the planet they were about to conquer. "Scan the system," he barked. "I want every Terran asset located and neutralized." As the scans began, an officer called out, "Admiral, we've detected a small fleet of ships approaching from Earth's orbit. They're unusual." Drakon sneered. "Let them come. Destroy them." The Terran fleet, led by the Obsidian-class ships, streaked toward the Draxion Armada. The human ships were smaller, sleeker, and faster, their matte black surfaces absorbing light like the void itself. As the Draxion fleet unleashed a barrage of plasma and energy weapons, the Terran ships performed impossible maneuvers, weaving through the onslaught with a precision that defied physics. Drakon's eyes widened as the Terran ships retaliated. Quantum disruptor beams lanced through the void, striking the Empire's warships with pinpoint accuracy. The disruptors didn't just destroy, they disassembled. Draxian ships crumbled into dust, their molecular bonds severed by the terrifying power of human technology. How is this possible? Drakon roared. Increase power to the shields. It's not working, Admiral. A panicked officer replied. Their weapons bypass our defenses. Before Drakon could issue another order, the Terran defense satellites activated. From hidden positions in the asteroid belt, they launched gravitational singularity warheads. The warheads detonated near the heart of the Draxian fleet, creating miniature black holes that swallowed entire ships in seconds. The once mighty armada was in disarray, a desperate gamble. Despite the devastating losses, Drakon refused to retreat. Prepare the doomsday cannon, he bellowed. If we can't take their planet, we'll destroy it. The doomsday cannon, a weapon capable of obliterating a planet's surface in a single shot, began to charge. Its energy core glowed ominously, sending waves of power rippling through the fleet. On Earth, alarms blared as the cannon's activation was detected. They're going to fire on us, Major Carter shouted. Cross turned to Dr. Hayes. Can we stop it? Hayes hesitated. If we can get close enough, we might be able to destabilize the energy core. But it's a suicide mission. Cross nodded. Send the Obsidian ships. We don't have a choice. The remaining Obsidian-class ships surged toward the Indomitable, dodging waves of enemy fire. As they closed in, one of the ships broke formation and accelerated toward the cannon. Inside, Captain Sarah Vega gripped the controls tightly. Vega, what are you doing? A voice crackled over the comms. Finishing the fight, she replied. Her ship collided with the cannon, triggering a massive explosion that sent shockwaves across the battlefield. The doomsday weapon was destroyed, but at the cost of her life. Victory at a cost. With their superweapon gone and their fleet decimated, the Draxian forces had no choice but to retreat. Admiral Drakon, seething with rage, vowed vengeance as his damaged flagship limped back into warp space. On Earth, there was no celebration, only relief and mourning. Commander Cross addressed the world in a broadcast, his face etched with exhaustion. Today, we prove that humanity will not be enslaved. But this victory came at a great cost. Let us honor those who gave their lives to defend our home. As the world watched and grieved, a new resolve took root. Humanity had faced the might of the Galactic Empire and survived. But they knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would return, stronger and more determined. And when they did, Earth would be ready. Shadows of retaliation. The aftermath of humanity's triumph echoed across the galaxy. News of Earth's defiance spread like wildfire, shaking the Galactic Empire to its core. Species that had long suffered under the Empire's rule began whispering of rebellion, inspired by the humans' audacity. On countless worlds, the name Earth became a symbol of hope and resistance. But in the shadowed halls of Draxian Prime, vengeance brewed. A wounded empire. Admiral Kal Drakon stood in the war chamber of the Imperial Palace, his expression carved from stone. Around him, high-ranking officials, military strategists, and ambassadors argued heatedly. The loss to Earth was a humiliation they could not afford to let fester. Earth is a threat that must be crushed immediately, Drakon growled, slamming his fist on the table. Their technology is dangerous, and their defiance undermines our authority. If we do not retaliate, rebellion will spread across the galaxy like wildfire. A representative of the Zenthuri Coalition, a species known for its calculated diplomacy, raised a hand. We underestimated the humans once, Admiral. If we strike again without understanding their full capabilities, we risk another failure. Drakon sneered. Failure is not an option. We will not simply attack. We will annihilate them. Every human, every city, every trace of their defiance will be erased. The chamber fell silent as Emperor Zarok entered. His towering figure was shrouded in a cloak of dark energy, his eyes glowing with cold malice. He waved a clawed hand, silencing the murmurs. "Admiral Dracon speaks the truth," Zarok declared. "Earth's victory has emboldened our enemies. We cannot allow their insolence to stand. But brute force alone will not suffice. We need strategy." He gestured to a holographic map of the galaxy. "The humans have revealed their strength, but they also have weaknesses. We will exploit them. We will infiltrate their defenses, undermine their alliances, and strike from within." Prakon bowed deeply. "Your wisdom is unmatched, my Emperor. I will lead the operation personally." Earth's rising tensions. On Earth, the victory against the Draxian fleet had brought both hope and uncertainty. While humanity celebrated its resilience, its leaders prepared for the inevitable retaliation. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a classified facility known only as Nexus Base, Earth's brightest minds worked tirelessly to improve their defenses. Commander Ethan Cross, now hailed as a global hero, paced in the war room. Holographic projections displayed intelligence reports, intercepted transmissions, and simulations of potential attacks. "We know the Empire will come back," Cross said, addressing his team. "And they won't make the same mistakes. We need to be ready for anything." Dr. Elena Hayes, seated at a console, spoke up. "We've made significant progress in integrating alien technologies. Our new fleet of Obsidian-class ships is almost complete, and the defense satellites have been upgraded. But there's something else." She tapped a screen, and a complex diagram appeared. "We've developed a prototype energy shield capable of protecting the entire planet. It uses a combination of quantum energy and gravitational fields to repel any attack." Cross studied the data. "How long until it's operational?" 3 months at best," Hayes replied. "But there's a risk. If the Empire attacks before we're ready, we'll buy the time we need," Cross said firmly. "No matter the cost." The infiltration. Meanwhile, Admiral Dracon's plan was already in motion. A stealth ship, cloaked with advanced technology, slipped past Earth's defenses and landed undetected in a remote region of South America. From the ship emerged a team of infiltrators, genetically enhanced Draxian operatives trained in sabotage and espionage. Their leader, an imposing figure named Carizol, surveyed the jungle terrain. "Earth may have won a battle," she sneered, "but they are far from invincible." Using advanced camouflage and biological implants that allowed them to mimic human appearance, the infiltrators began their mission. They hacked into communication networks, planted surveillance devices, and sowed discord among Earth's leadership. Carizol's team wasn't content with sabotage. They aimed to fracture humanity from within. Through propaganda and carefully staged incidents, they sought to undermine trust between nations, creating tensions that would distract humanity from the looming threat. A hidden threat revealed. In Nexus Base, Dr. Hayes noticed unusual patterns in Earth's global communication systems. "Ethan," she called, her voice tense. "Something's wrong. I'm detecting anomalies, encrypted signals that don't match any known human origin." Cross leaned over her shoulder, his expression darkening. "Could it be the Empire?" "It's likely," Hayes said. "If they infiltrated us, they could be gathering intelligence or worse, sabotaging our defenses." Cross activated the emergency protocol, alerting all global defense agencies. "We can't let this escalate. Find the source and neutralize it." In a hidden bunker in the Amazon rainforest, Carizol and her team worked tirelessly to upload stolen data to the Empire. But as they transmitted their final package, alarms blared. Terran Special Forces, led by Major Sam Carter, stormed the bunker. The battle was brutal. The Draxian operatives, armed with advanced weaponry and enhanced strength, fought fiercely. But humanity's soldiers had something the Empire's agents lacked: unbreakable resolve. Carter's team, equipped with cutting-edge Terran technology, overwhelmed the infiltrators. Carizol, injured but defiant, hissed at Carter as she was restrained. "You think this victory matters? The Empire is coming, and you will burn." Carter stared her down, his voice cold. "We've heard that before, and yet we're still here. A galaxy on edge." As Earth rooted out the last of the infiltrators, the Galactic Empire prepared for its next move. In the shadows, alliances were forming. Species oppressed by the Empire began reaching out to Earth, seeking a chance to join the resistance. Among them were the Xerelians, a highly advanced but reclusive species known for their mastery of energy manipulation. A Xerelian envoy, Ambassador Lyris, arrived on Earth under heavy secrecy. Meeting with Commander Cross and Dr. Hayes, she offered an alliance. "Your defiance has inspired many," Lyris said, her voice melodic but serious. "The Empire is not invincible, but only united can we hope to defeat them." Cross nodded. "We'll stand with anyone who's willing to fight for freedom. But this alliance has to go both ways." "Agreed," Lyris said. "The Empire fears you, Commander. They'll stop at nothing to destroy you. But their fear is your greatest weapon. Together, we will make them tremble." The countdown to war. As the alliance took shape, Earth raced against time to fortify its defenses. The Planetary Shield project neared completion, and the new fleet of Obsidian-class ships prepared for deployment. But despite the progress, Cross knew the Empire's retaliation would be unlike anything humanity had faced. In the depths of Draxian Prime, Admiral Drakon stood before a new weapon, a massive supercarrier armed with an array of planet-destroying weapons. His lips curled into a cruel smile. "The humans think they've won," he muttered. "But they've only delayed the inevitable. When we return, Earth will fall." And so, the galaxy braced for the next chapter in the struggle between Earth and the Galactic Empire, a battle that would determine the fate of countless civilizations. Humanity's greatest test was yet to come. The Empire's shadow looms. The stars above Earth twinkled innocently, belying the storm of chaos brewing in the vastness of space. Deep in the far reaches of the galaxy, Admiral Kel Drakon's wrath took shape. The Empire had begun assembling its most devastating weapon, a colossal supercarrier named the Revenant, capable of not only crushing fleets but also obliterating entire planets. Hidden in the swirling maelstrom of the Ion Nebula, thousands of engineers and scientists toiled under Drakon's iron command. In the cavernous war chamber aboard the Revenant, Drakon stood before a holographic projection of Earth. His eyes gleamed with vengeful resolve. "They've humiliated us once," Drakon growled to the gathered council of warlords and strategists. "We will not allow them another chance. The Revenant will be the tool of their annihilation, and the galaxy will remember why the Empire is feared." "Admiral," a Xanthari tactician interjected cautiously, "Earth's defenses proved formidable. If we miscalculate again—" Drakon's gaze snapped to the tactician, silencing him with a glare. "There will be no miscalculation this time. The Revenant is more than a weapon. It is a fortress, a symbol of the Empire's might. And with the experimental Dreadspire cannons, we'll strike Earth before they even realize we're upon them." Tensions rise on Earth. Back on Earth, Commander Ethan Cross stood in the Nexus base war room, poring over intercepted transmissions. The Empire's defeat had not left them crippled. Instead, it had awakened a beast. Reports from allied factions whispered of a superweapon being constructed, a vessel that could tip the scales irrevocably. "This is bigger than anything we faced before," Cross said, addressing his team. "If these reports are true, the Revenant won't just be a weapon. It'll be a death sentence for Earth." Dr. Elena Hayes, standing at his side, added grimly, "Our planetary shield will be operational in a matter of weeks, but if they strike before then—" "They won't get the chance," Cross interrupted. "We're not waiting for them to come to us. If the Revenant exists, we'll take the fight to them." Hayes raised an eyebrow. "You're proposing a preemptive strike." "Not just a strike," Cross clarified. "An infiltration. We'll sabotage the Revenant before it can leave their nebula. It's risky, but it's the only way." The alliance expands. As preparations for the mission began, Earth's newfound alliances deepened. The Zarelians, known for their mastery of energy manipulation, offered a critical breakthrough, a cloaking device that could render an entire fleet invisible to Imperial sensors. Ambassador Lyris, her shimmering form a blend of light and matter, stood before Cross in the Nexus base conference chamber. "This technology is our gift to your people," she said, her voice melodic but resolute. "But use it wisely. The Empire will not underestimate you again." Cross nodded, gratitude mixed with determination. "With your help, we'll make sure they don't get the chance." The Zarelians were not the only allies rallying to Earth's cause. The cyborg Zuri Collective, long oppressed by the Empire for their cybernetic enhancements, pledged their expertise in AI and combat robotics. On hidden assembly lines, they began producing combat drones designed to fight alongside Earth's forces. A sense of unity swept across Earth and its allies. The spark of rebellion had ignited across the galaxy, and now, a coalition of free worlds prepared to stand against the Empire. Into the maelstrom. The infiltration team consisted of Earth's best and brightest. Major Sam Carter, the fearless leader of Earth's elite Havoc Squad, volunteered to lead the mission. Alongside him was a small team of specialists, including Dr. Hayes, whose expertise in alien technology would be crucial. The team boarded the Shadow Strike, a stealth frigate outfitted with Zarelian cloaking and Zuri cybernetics. As they approached the Ion Nebula, the atmosphere aboard the ship grew tense. The nebula's swirling gases and electrical storms created a natural barrier, making it an ideal hiding place for the Empire's superweapon. "This is it," Carter said, addressing the team. "We get in, sabotage the Revenant, and get out. Stick to the plan, and we'll all make it back." As the Shadow Strike entered the nebula, the view outside the windows turned into a kaleidoscope of shifting colors and lightning flashes. The crew held their breath as the cloaking system hummed to life, rendering the ship invisible to Imperial sensors. Moments later, the Revenant came into view. The sheer size of the vessel took their breath away. It was more a floating city than a warship, bristling with weapons and surrounded by a swarm of smaller support ships. "Unbelievable," Hayes whispered. "It's even bigger than we thought." "Focus," Carter said. "We've got a job to do." The sabotage mission. Using the cloaking technology, the Shadow Strike slipped past the Imperial patrols and docked at a maintenance hatch on the Revenant's underside. The team donned specialized suits designed to mimic the appearance of Imperial engineers and entered the ship undetected. Inside, the scale of the Revenant was staggering. Endless corridors of gleaming metal stretched in every direction, patrolled by squads of heavily armed Draxian soldiers. The team moved with precision, avoiding detection as they made their way to the ship's power core. "This is it," Hayes said as they reached the core, a massive reactor pulsating with energy. "If we overload this, it'll cripple the Revenant." As Hayes began hacking into the reactor systems, alarms suddenly blared. The Empire had detected their presence. "They know we're here," Carter shouted. "Hold them off while she finishes." Draxian soldiers poured into the chamber, their weapons lighting up the air with plasma fire. The team fought fiercely, their advanced weapons and combat training giving them an edge. But the enemy's numbers were overwhelming. "Almost there," Hayes yelled, her fingers flying over the console. Suddenly, the doors burst open, and Admiral Draken himself entered, flanked by a squad of elite guards. His eyes locked on Carter. "You humans are persistent," Draken sneered, drawing a massive energy blade. "But this ends here." Carter charged at Draken, their battle erupting into a blur of sparks and flashes. Meanwhile, Hayes finished her work, setting the reactor to overload. "Done," she shouted. "We have to go. Now." Carter disengaged from Draken, throwing a smoke grenade to cover their retreat. The team raced back to the Shadow Strike, dodging enemy fire as the reactor began to destabilize. Explosions rocked the ship as they launched away, the Revenant collapsing in on itself. A Pyrrhic victory. The destruction of the Revenant was a devastating blow to the Empire, but it came at a cost. Several members of the team didn't make it back, and the galaxy's retaliation was now inevitable. Back on Earth, Cross addressed the world once more. We struck a blow against the Empire today, but this is far from over. They will come for us with everything they have. But we will stand together, united and unyielding. In the distant reaches of space, Admiral Draken stood aboard a smaller warship, his eyes burning with fury as he watched the remnants of the Revenant drift into the nebula. "This isn't over," he hissed. "Earth will pay for this." The galaxy teetered on the brink of war, and humanity prepared for the storm to come. The battle for freedom had only just begun. The Galactic Empire strikes back. The destruction of the Revenant sent shockwaves across the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire faced a humiliating defeat on such a grand scale. On countless worlds, whispers of rebellion grew louder, fueled by the knowledge that Earth, a planet once dismissed as insignificant, had struck a blow against the most powerful force in the universe. But in the Empire's shadowed halls, vengeance stirred. A ruthless plan. Admiral Kal Drakon stood before Emperor Zarak in the Imperial throne room, a cavernous space filled with the low hum of ancient technology. The Emperor's piercing eyes bore into Drakon, who knelt in submission. "You failed me again, Admiral," Zarak growled, his voice reverberating through the chamber. "First, Earth repelled our fleet. Now they've destroyed our greatest weapon. Tell me, why should I not strip you of your rank and cast you into the void?" Drakon raised his head, his face set with defiance. "Because I have a plan, my Emperor. Earth's victory came at great cost. They are wounded, vulnerable. We will exploit their moment of weakness and crush them once and for all." Zarak leaned forward, his claws gripping the armrests of his throne. "Explain." "Their alliances with the Zarelians and the Zuri Collective are critical to their survival," Drakon said. "If we sever those ties, Earth will stand alone. I propose a multi-pronged assault. To stabilize their alliances, infiltrate their leadership, and deploy our new weapon, the Shadow Swarm." A murmur rippled through the room as Zarak's advisors whispered among themselves. The Shadow Swarm was a fleet of autonomous drones, equipped with artificial intelligence, and designed to overwhelm enemy defenses through sheer numbers. Zarak's lips curled into a cruel smile. "You have one chance, Drakon. Do not fail me again." A fragile alliance. On Earth, the mood was tense. The destruction of the Revenant had been a critical victory, but humanity's leaders knew it was only a temporary reprieve. In the Nexus Base War Room, Commander Ethan Cross, Dr. Elena Hayes, and Ambassador Lyris of the Zarelians met to discuss the next steps. "Our scouts report unusual activity in the Draxian system," Lyris said, her voice calm but laced with concern. "The Empire is regrouping. They will not wait long to retaliate." Dr. Hayes nodded. "We've upgraded the planetary shield and expanded our fleet, but if they attack with something like the Revenant again, we won't be facing another supercarrier," Cross interjected, his tone grim. "Drakon is smarter than that. He'll try to divide us. We need to strengthen our alliances before he can." But strengthening alliances proved harder than expected. The Zuri Collective, though technologically advanced, was reluctant to commit more resources to the fight. Their leader, Overseer Kale, met with Cross via hologram, his mechanical visage impassive. "Commander, we respect Earth's determination," Kale said, his voice a mix of synthetic tones. "But the Empire's reach is vast. If we align with you fully, we risk annihilation. And if you don't," Cross countered, "you'll be subjugated just like the rest of us. The Empire doesn't leave anyone alone for long." Kale hesitated. "We will consider your words. But for now, we cannot afford to stretch ourselves further." The Shadow Swarm unleashed. Unbeknownst to Earth and its allies, Admiral Drakon's plan was already in motion. Deep in the void between stars, the Shadow Swarm fleet was activated. Thousands of sleek, black drones emerged from hidden forges, their AI cores humming with malevolent intent. They moved as one, a silent wave of destruction, and their first target was Zorelia Prime. The Zyrelian homeworld was a gleaming beacon of energy and light, its towering crystalline cities powered by advanced energy manipulation. But when the shadow swarm descended, the planet's defenses crumbled in hours. The drones were relentless, adapting to every countermeasure the Zyrelians deployed. Millions were lost, and the survivors flowed into space, seeking refuge with their newfound allies on Earth. Refugees and rising tensions. The arrival of the Zyrelian refugees on Earth sparked both compassion and conflict. Human cities opened their borders to the alien survivors, but the influx of displaced beings strained resources and stoked fears among the population. In the United Nations Assembly, tensions flared. Representatives from across the globe debated fiercely, some calling for increased aid to the refugees, others arguing that Earth couldn't afford to bear the burden. Cross addressed the Assembly, his voice firm. The Zyrelians are our allies. They've fought alongside us against the Empire. Turning our backs on them now would betray everything we stand for. Despite his plea, divisions deepened, and whispers of dissent grew louder. It was exactly what Drakon had planned. The infiltration. Meanwhile, the Empire's agents infiltrated Earth's leadership. Disguised as human diplomats, they spread rumors and planted evidence to drive wedges between Earth and its allies. They targeted the Zuri Collective in particular, fabricating proof that Earth planned to use their technology for domination. The Zuri, already hesitant, began to withdraw their support. Ambassador Lyris confronted Cross, her luminous form flickering with frustration. "Your people are hiding something," she accused. "There are whispers of betrayal, of plans to use Zyrelian technology against the galaxy." Cross shook his head, his jaw tight. "It's a lie. The Empire is trying to divide us." "Then prove it," Lyris said. "Because if we cannot trust you, we cannot fight beside you." A desperate gamble. As alliances faltered and the shadow swarm loomed closer, Cross and his team realized they needed to act quickly. Dr. Hayes proposed a daring plan: infiltrate the shadow swarm's command hub and disable their AI core. Without centralized control, the drones would become useless. "It's a suicide mission," Carter said bluntly. "Their defenses will be impenetrable." "It's the only way," Hayes insisted. "If we don't stop them now, they'll wipe out everything. Earth, our allies, the entire galaxy." Cross nodded. "Then we'll go. If this is what it takes to save humanity, we'll see it through." Into the heart of darkness, the team boarded the Eclipse, Earth's most advanced stealth ship, and set course for the Shadow Swarm's hub, a massive space station hidden in a pocket of warped space. As they approached, the scale of the station became clear. It was larger than the Revenant, a dark monolith surrounded by an endless sea of drones. Using the Zyrelian cloaking technology, the Eclipse slipped through the perimeter undetected. The team entered the station, their hearts pounding as they navigated its labyrinthine corridors. Everywhere they turned, they saw the Empire's cruel efficiency. Racks of dormant drones, automated assembly lines, and data centers humming with activity. At the core of the station, they found the AI Nexus, a pulsating sphere of energy surrounded by layers of defenses. Hayes began hacking into the system, while Carter and the others held off waves of Imperial guards and automated turrets. "We don't have much time," Hayes shouted as explosions rocked the station. "Just finish the job," Carter yelled, firing his weapon at an advancing drone. Finally, Hayes broke through the AI's defenses. "I've got it," she cried. "Initiating shutdown now." The Nexus flickered, then exploded in a cascade of light. Across the galaxy, the Shadow Swarm froze, their AI control severed. A hollow victory. The team barely escaped as the station collapsed in on itself, destroying the Shadow Swarm once and for all. But as the Eclipse returned to Earth, the team knew their mission had come at a great cost. The Empire was wounded but not defeated. And now, with alliances hanging by a thread and Earth's resources stretched thin, the next battle loomed ever closer. The question wasn't if the Empire would strike again, it was when. Humanity had survived the first onslaught, but in the silence that followed, the galaxy braced for a war that would determine the fate of all.